So, the Snowliners are again on move. Now to the trail across Saraumga, the most challenging mountain pass on Pir Panjal of Himachal Himalaya. The trail starts from the evergreen Parvati Valley and arrives at the grey and pink valley of Lahul on the other side of the mountain. This time the story began a little differently. We actually had a venture scheduled across the famous Pin Parvati Pass. The trail to Pin Parvati also begins from Parvati Valley, but lands to the golden gorges of Pin Valley in Spiti. We left Kolkata on 6th of September and reached Varseni via Chandigarh and Bhunter on the 10th. Varseni stands right on the confluence of Parvati and Toss rivers. If he moves against the course of Parvati, the trail would lead him across Pin Parvati Pass. But if instead he goes against the course of Toss River, he would face the challenge of Saraumga. Well, we reached Varseni and had our first camp on the ground at the lap of the rising hills and just on the edge of the confluence. Villages and landscapes are all around. Toss village waits there on the north, where the Toss river seems to be coming from. The twin village of Kalga and Pulga wait there on the south. Parvati river comes from the east, and we have our camp right at the center of everything. The entire team comprising 7 snowliners, 1 guide, a cook, a sardar, and 9 porters, that is 19 altogether, remain very busy at the first camp even after evening, because the march begins tomorrow, the next morning. 11th September. It's sunny, bright and inviting. We are on march against the stream of Parvati, already 3 kilometers away from Varseni, reached Nathan village on the way. The village is old, beautiful and warm. We stop for a while, talk a little, enjoy everything in and around. It's life and color blooming everywhere. The day's destination is Ganga, the last village in this side of the mountain. Thereafter, it would be a complete no man's land. We keep marching and come across a meadow. All eyes are delighted as we see around. Waterfall, woodland, butterfly, rushing Parvati, and then across the river, and keep marching along the rising trail through the shadow of old and quiet woodland. It is 15:30 now. The day's march is over. We are now in the green beauty of Ganga village. The village is large, rich and well spread out. Ganga provides ample even space. We had our camp at the other end of the village, beside the trail, above the Parvati Gorge. The feeling has been great, but short-lived. Bad news was waiting for us. The bridge over Parvati on the way ahead of the next camp has been torn apart. That was the only means to connect the trail rising from the other side of the river, and we have just lost the only means. The trail is just cut off now. We thought for long, talked for long, and realized that we cannot stick to the trail anymore. So decided to go down to Varseni and start afresh with another trail. The next day dawned. We left Ganga, came down to Varseni amid a prolonged rain, and then by the end of the day we moved up to Tos village when sky was still thick with cloud. Tos village looks old, Tos village looks new. It is a strange fusion. We stay here for the night and then in the morning go for the march again. 13th September. We have already said goodbye to Pin Parvati. Now have a new trail, a new challenge, a new destination. The day's march goes ascending for long, but not that long. We have had a good time in Kutla Meadow in the Midway. We got tea, came across a few old citizens of this distant land.
जुगनी है, जुगनी।
जोगनी बोलते हैं, जोगनी जोगनी जंगल का देवी है, देवी या देव,
हाँ।
देवता ही या देवी,
देवी है।
देवी है। पूजा पाठ होता है,
हैं?
पूजा करते हैं लोग,
क्या करते हैं?
The march finally ends at Buddhavan, the day's campsite. It is just noon. We are guarded on all sides, with woodlands at a height above 9,000 feet. September, Parvati waits, Pir Panjal waits, and waits the woodland. All seems to be eager for the day's march. And the march begins, keeping Parvati on our right. It would be a long day. We have to get past the woodland before we reach the campsite at Saraumga. The trail offers all the colors and moments. It's a walk through the great and vast canvas of nature. We keep going, but there seems to be no end of the woodland. The day is silently fading out, so we must think of a camp before it is too late. Yes, it is there on the interim meadow. We could not move further as the cloud was threatening from the other side. This campsite is at least 2 hours behind the scheduled campsite at Saraumga. 15th September. All becomes busy as the day dawned. It is a great surrounding. We feel excited as we are getting ready for the long march. a little descending at first, then it is all ascending. Finally, the woodland disappeared behind. We come across Saraumga. It is a vast land of grazing sheep, wild grass, giant rocks all around. We take a little rest and march again for the day's camp at Saraumga. It is a long, long day. Our march goes on and on. It never stops. 16th September, we wake up in the morning in the lonely tent. Though the team reached Saraumga last evening, some of us could not make it. We had to make another interim camp on this unknown meadow. Today we shall move up to Saraumga and no further march thereafter. And for the rest of the team, it would be rest day. There the camp at Saraumga waits for us. Saraumga is a dreamland at an altitude above 12,000 feet. It is strange beacon everywhere. One can go in any direction and disappear. But we cannot miss the beacon of Saraumga. It is there, it is there. The day is fading out. Long march waits tomorrow. September. The morning is sunny, inviting. It is time to leave for the long march. And there we go. We must reach Kutathach, the base camp on the edge of Tos Glacier. Saraumga is left behind. We are marching on rocks. Call and challenge of Tos Glacier is already felt. Soon we shall be in the land of no trail. Yes, we had to stop for some time before entering the land of no train, for we need to regroup ourselves and to set things in order. Let's come closer before we dare to the mysterious part of Toss Basin and then across Pir Panjal. There goes the trail along and above the basin, then marching up higher for the left shelf of Toss glaciers. We are almost there. The river crossing on the right shelf, and we are home. The evening is spread out now. We are just beside the mighty Pir Panjal, just above the junction of East and West Toss glaciers. Oh, there we came from. 18th September. Another exciting day begins as sun is spread out on the meadow and around. Today we are to cross the enormous glacier, getting past all the rocks, screes and debris for a long climb along the barricading wall on the other side. We are actually negotiating the West Toss Glacier. It's very, very tough game, going deeper and rising higher time and again. And as the crossing is over, we had to go for the terrible climb there. One must reach the spa before he goes further for Camp 1 below the pass. That's East Toss Glacier on the background. The wall of Pir Panjal, the West Toss Glacier, and the glacial basin. There, there the Toss River is born. Oh, what a place to have your lunch. That's magnificent West Coast glacial flyover. The glacier is also landing from Pir Panjab. The climb and the traversing continue till the end of the day. Finally, we reached Camp 1 in the devastated basin some 200 or 300 feet below the gateway of Saraumga. The night would be very, very exciting as the doomsday dawns tomorrow. The final march would begin, and then the venture across Saraumga, and then the descent to the other side of the mountain. September 19th, and at last the day is done. There waits the gateway. We are on the march. The trail we left far behind is still inspiring us. The world is steadily disappearing below. We are on the ascent as if for a lifetime. This day has the space for everything. The ascent, the descent, the events, the moments, all shall be happening in a single day. A single, yet one of the most telling day of our life. There stands the crown of Papsura, the Lord of Pir Panjab, towering above everything. We are going higher, higher, and higher. It is a sense of great elevation as we look behind. Then we have the moment of a lifetime. We are atop Saraumgala. We are atop Saraumgala. Yes, we did it. We did it. It is all around us. The mighty citadel of Pir Panjal, the towering peaks, the robust ice falls, the silky white tarmac, and the canopy of deep stainless blue. It's all around and above. It is a land of vast magnificence. The colossal architecture, so aesthetically built, so amazingly balanced, and sometimes so mysteriously veiled. There the Chota Sigri glacier goes down. The Chota Sigri group of peaks is on our right. The region of Popsura and the Barchen. The gateway we came up through from the other side, the West Ridge, and there's the gorge. And there we go, amid the mystery and magnificence of Pir Panjal. It's a long way down to the land of Lahul. Glacial top melts as day approaches noon. Treacherous parts are there on the way. The ice, the seracs, rock towers, glacial tables, crevasses, and glacial streams, friendly and hostile, and the giants all around. And the giants all around witnessing our descent. It's a long, long march. And by the end of the day, we reach Chota Dhara. The stream we were following is named Chota Dhara. The place is also called Chota Dhara, the fascinating campsite on the left shelf of Chandra River. Yes, we are almost home, the home in the land of Lahore.
거의 뭐 살짝만 뜯어가는
20th September, we crossed the Chandra River with a lone single rope conveyor. Oh, that's a thrilling ride. Everybody enjoys. And now we are beside the national highway, waiting for a bus or a couple of cars that would take us to Manali via Rohtang Pass. We had to stay at Manali for a few days. And then we shall leave for home, our sweet home, leaving behind everything, leaving behind the towering hills, the turbulent rivers, Bias, Parvati, Toss, Chandra, and the trail to the land of fairy tales. But the eternal beacon of Himalayas shall remain with us. So shall remain the immense treasure stored deeper in the core of our heart. And that would bring us back again along the trail to the other side of the mountain.